welcome. You're watching this week's episode of EBC Sports International. I'm your host, Ken Cruz, filming from Washington, D.C. Whether you're watching live or catching our videos on our Facebook or YouTube page, we thank you so much for joining us. We hope you're all staying safe and healthy during these very interesting times. Before anything else, we'd like to introduce our panel for this evening, who are more valuable and more in demand than a PlayStation 5 on release day. From Alexandria, Virginia, we have EJ Gonzalez.
What's up, guys? Thankfully, I already got my PS5. Sorry, Ken.
I am seething. And then from Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada, we have our good friend, Jolty Horvath.
Hey, what's up, guys? If you're wondering why I'm wearing this super ugly lime green, it's because the Seahawks beat the Vikings. I think it was like week 5 or week 6. So, Mike, here you go. Ugly green.
I could have sworn that you were going to be on a green screen, just your head only. But I guess that was for the Seahawks winning, which is very unfortunate. But anyways, great to be here with you guys. And before we get started, I just want to remind our viewers that we are by no means experts, but rather just a good group of friends, just the 3 amigos here giving our opinions on topics surrounding our love for sports. So before we jump into any discussions, let's get you caught up on some news around the world of sports. First up, to bring us the latest from the golf world. Very important, very, very important weekend. Let's go to EJ.
Thanks, Ken. Thursday kicked off the Masters tournament in Augusta, Georgia, as Tiger Woods aims to defend his title. Thunder showers caused a delay early in the morning in round 1, forcing the players to come off the course and practice areas. The delay lasted for almost 2 hours, but it softened the greens, resulting in some pretty low scores in round 1. After day 1, there were more than 25 players that finished the day with under par scores, but a handful of players were unable to finish their rounds since sunset here with daylight savings time is as early as 5:30 p.m. So these said players had to wake up early on Friday to complete the round and then go on to play round 2. But, the low scoring trend remained. Tiger played one of his best rounds in his career, putting up a bogey-free 4 under par after round 1, but was positioned at a tie for 5th with Patrick Reed and 6 others at the end of round 1 that day. Some big-name players showed up and scored even lower round 1 scores, including Justin Thomas, Xander Schauffele, and current world number 1 Dustin Johnson. Again, today some players were not able to finish round 2, including Tiger Woods, who scored his first bogey on hole 4 and is at even through 8 holes. The cut line is looking to be around -1 with all the low scores, and Tiger is still in a good position to contend. The leaderboard after day 2 holds a 4-way tie at first with Abraham Answer, Cameron Smith, Justin Thomas, and Dustin Johnson at -9, and 9 others closely trailing by just 1 or 2 strokes. With all the low scores, the Masters is shaping up to be as competitive as it gets and can easily come down to the last hole. Back to you, Ken.
So, quick question for you, EJ. What are the chances that Tiger Woods is back-to-back like Magic Johnson in the 80s?
Man, it would be awesome. I'm definitely rooting for Woods. I think he can defend it. You can never count him out, especially after scoring one of his best first rounds ever. So usually he's not at that score after round 1, but he's there contending. I hope that he can remain as hot as he's been. There's 1 bogey that he got today, but, shake that off and hopefully get a little bit more birdies to finish out his second round tomorrow.
I haven't been able to watch as in depth as I wanted, but you said you've been watching pretty extensively. How's he looking in the green?
On the green, he's been good. Again, he was birdie-free round 1. Today, he did get a birdie, and this was about a 2 or 3 footer. He definitely should have got it. It just lipped out. I think he just didn't hit the spot that he wanted on that putt. Other than that, though, his reads have been pretty good and consistent. unlike some of the past tournaments that he's played. So I think he's looking pretty good on the greens, except that one that jumped on him today.
Do you think it's him looking good, or it's the field just being that easy because everyone else is succeeding at the moment?
I don't know. I mean, there are some bigger names who aren't up to where they are, including one of my favorite players, Colin Morikawa. He's been hot all year, but this year, I mean, after round 2, I think last time I checked, he was just at even. So I mean, I think he might not make the cut exactly, and this guy is notorious for making every cut, and he might not get it this time. But Tiger Woods, I'm telling you, he looks hot, just like everybody else does too. But as long as he can stay consistent, then once it comes down to the final 2 days, he's going to be one to look out for.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a quick question. So because you guys were talking about video games before, you guys remember when Tiger Woods PGA Tour Golf switched to Rory McIlroy PGA Tour Golf? And ever since then, Rory McIlroy has been absolutely horrible just in the game of golf. If Tiger wins this, is this going back to Tiger Woods PGA Tour 21?
Man, he better be. He should be. I mean, Rory actually, he was horrible round 1. He had a +3. But after finishing today, he brought it all the way down to -2. So he's going to be making the cut, and he's going to be competing, I'm pretty sure, against these guys. But Dustin Johnson's really, like, on fire.
Well, I'll tell you this. As far as the PGA game designers, they would want nothing more than to put Tiger back in cover purely because of sales. Because it's proven that this guy is literally still the face of the sport, even after losing more than a pep in his step.
Right.
By the way, did you guys see that crazy overwater practice hit? I forgot who did that, but that was
that was John Rahm, I believe. It was John Rahm, but yeah, it was amazing. It skipped across the water like 3 times and made the world's like craziest bend on the green just to get in the hole. It was pretty cool. Too bad it didn't count, but it was definitely fun to watch.
That was probably like the good tidings that this tournament's going to be, a little easier for all of the players. Just because, I mean, with a trick shot like that, the results are showing right now that at least the fairgrounds are nice and easy for these Masters. But I appreciate the report, EJ. Now, from golf, let's go to Major League Baseball. History has been made today, Jolty.
That's right. So the Miami Marlins made history this afternoon when they hired Kim Ng as their new general manager. Ng started her baseball career as an intern and has 21 years of front office experience with the White Sox and the Yankees. Ng said in a statement today, "After decades of determination, it is the honor of my career to lead the Miami Marlins. When I got into this business, it seemed unlikely a woman would lead a major league team, but I am dogged in the pursuit of my goals. My goal is now to bring championship baseball to Miami." Marlins CEO Derek Jeter played for the Yankees when Ng worked for the team and stated, "We look forward to Kim bringing a wealth of knowledge and championship-level experience to the Miami Marlins. Her leadership of our baseball operations team will play a major role on our path towards sustained success." Kim Ng brings over 30 years of baseball experience, 8 postseason appearances, 6 league championship series, and 3 World Series titles on her resume to the Marlins. Ng will become the highest-ranking woman in baseball operations in Major League Baseball. And although it was initially reported that she will become the first female general manager of a major men's professional sports organization in North America, Joanne Polak served as the GM of the Ottawa Roughriders in the Canadian Football League from 89 to 91. Ken, back to you.
Great news. And now we have some more history that's been made, some record-breaking, inspiring news in the world of triathlons. Chris Nikic, Florida native, is the first athlete with Down syndrome to finish an Ironman triathlon, setting a world record. EBC sports correspondent Melissa Pota has the story.
On Saturday, November 7th, Chris Nikic, a 21-year-old Central Florida native, made history. Shattering stereotypes and expectations, Nikic became the first athlete with Down syndrome to finish an Ironman triathlon, setting a Guinness World Record. Held in Panama City Beach, Florida, Nikic completed the 2.4-mile swim, 122-mile bike ride, and marathon-length run in 16 hours and 46 minutes, 14 minutes shy of the 17-hour time limit. Nikic completed the race with his guide, Dan Grebe, at his side. Despite setbacks growing up, including major heart surgery at 5 months of age and 4 major ear surgeries at the age of 17, Nikic has been motivated by his personal goal to be the best he can be by getting 1% better every day while promoting Down syndrome awareness. He hopes to qualify for the 2022 Special Olympics USA Games. Thank you, Chris, for being a true example of what hard work, determination, and perseverance looks like, and for inspiring us to be 1% better every day. In Orlando, Florida, Melissa Potas, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Well, thanks, Chris. And awesome work. Thanks, Melissa. And congratulations, Chris. Thanks for being an inspiration to all of us here at EBC Sports International. So now that you're caught up on some sports news from around the world, don't go anywhere. We're going to have a quick break, and then before that, we'll dive into some good discussions with our panel. This is EBC Sports International.
Habang paalakpakan doon, talaga nang pumalakpak ako, nauto nyo ko doon.
Maganda panoorin.
Ang sarap ng feeling kasi parang binalik nyo ako sa kabataan ko.
This is Tagisa ng Galing Part 2 Dance Audition.
Innovation, digital disruption, globalization. Startups, micro, small, and medium enterprises, as well as large corporations, all face interesting challenges in the market today. Peek into the world of exciting opportunities and partnerships to drive growth with the latest business news and information. We are open for business. Join the conversations to create a more vibrant environment for entrepreneurship. Catch Open for Business every Saturday from 5 to 6 p.m. Open for Business, from vision to action.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for sticking with us. Let's start our discussions with the NBA. Now, the NBA season is set to start December the 22nd. Free agency will begin November 20th. Training camps will open December 1st. So teams will need to move fast to get their teams together and ready to start with a very short timeline. With the draft and free agency market opening next week already. Rumors are around, and there's rumors all over the place, and some big names are projected to move in new homes in the coming days. Let's discuss some scenarios and see what our panel thinks. So let's start off with pretty much, I guess, I would say the biggest name out there, Russell Westbrook. So it's been stated, there's a lot of rumors around that he is unhappy and supposedly requesting a trade out of the Rockets with one of his best friends, James Harden. And some of the big suitors that are out there that are willing to trade for him are Jolte's New York Knicks and Michael Jordan's Charlotte Hornets. So
I like that you put me in the same sentence as Michael Jordan. That's really
you're the Michael Jordan of the Knicks, man. No, but so as far as Russell Westbrook, let's stay with you, Jolte. What are your thoughts on him potentially joining, pretty much the mecca of basketball, the New York Knicks?
I mean, it'll be great for the Knicks organization money-wise, because they'll be able to sell a ton of merchandise again, because these last few years there's been virtually no one to buy a jersey of, right? Everyone's been buying a Julius Randle jersey. Come on. Like I'm not even living in New York right now, but I know there's more like Patrick Ewing jerseys out there than there are Julius Randle jerseys out there. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like half off at the team store right now.
As a current player.
Current player, seriously, no joke. There's probably more Jeremy Lin jerseys out there than Julius Randle.
Hey, Jeremy Lin's a New York Knicks legend. I'll tell you that.
Right.
Definitely.
But it's great for the Knicks organization. It's horrible for Russell Westbrook, because the way the ownership is set up right now, the way the management is set up right now, it doesn't. You could put LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Giannis, and they're still not going to win a championship. That's how in horrible disarray this organization is. So if I was Russell Westbrook, what's that?
Do you think it starts from the top, the owner, James Dolan?
James Dolan, absolutely. James Dolan has to be the worst owner in pro sports. Like, even worse than Jerry Jones. Like, he is the worst. If I was Westbrook, I would look anywhere else but New York. Even if it means losing a huge payday in New York, go to Charlotte, play for the legend, not literally, but play for the legend Michael Jordan. Actually have a shot at the playoffs. And maybe win something for Charlotte. But New York, it's not going to happen.
EJ, what are your thoughts on where Westbrook lands in a couple days?
Yeah, no, actually, they were saying that Russell Westbrook has a very short list of teams that he would like to go to, and the Knicks is one of those teams. So but look, they talk about this all the time. The Knicks always make some sort of news when it comes to signing some big free agent, and then what happens? Nothing. But
LeBron was on that list before, and he went
right. Exactly.
I mean, how they feel, because the Lakers were like that before LeBron James signed. Right? It's all the big names go saying, "Oh, we're gonna go to LA. There's potentially go to LA," and then nothing. But then.
Right. Kevin Durant was, Kevin Durant was in those talks too of if he were going to go to New York, would he go to the Nets or would he go to the Knicks? Right. And obviously he said verbatimly, he said, ain't no way I'm going to the Knicks. Now, if Russell Westbrook does go to the Knicks, it's actually going to be pretty beneficial for him. They're going to have to take his $126 million contract. But imagine if Russell Westbrook goes to the Knicks and does something with them, brings them to a winning season after such a horrible last, I would say, year since Linsanity. But Russell Westbrook comes in there and changes up the franchise. I think you could start putting putting Russell Westbrook as one of automatically on the ballot for a Hall of Fame if he could turn the New York Knicks around. You know, the place where really people's careers go to the grave.
That's why they say if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Right.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, is it enough, right? Because, I mean, like, who do they have right now? They got Barrett, they got Julius Randle, they got Todd.
Exactly. There you go. Exactly.
Yeah. No, they got no one. But imagine Westbrook somehow gives them a winning season, or even eighth, or even ninth or 10th in the East. You know, like some way to compete.
They have a chance to go to the playoffs with this year's playoff play-in with the 9 and 2.
Exactly. If they get into that 10th spot, so they could possibly make the playoffs. Now, if he does that, that's going to be pretty astonishing. Now, Russell Westbrook, he's a player that is very youthful. Like he has the most energy out of anybody in the NBA. I don't think his fit, as far as fit goes, I don't think it would be with New York, but it would benefit Russell. But I think in terms of fit, I would like to see him kind of pair up with a younger team, like New Orleans, who has a lot of young stars that he could really just run with. You know, that he can match that energy. Or like the Phoenix Suns, a lot of other young stars. They got Ricky Rubio as their guard, but you pair him with.
We'll talk a little bit more about the Suns in a second, but I think that's tough with Devin Booker being one of the primary ball handlers in there, and it would be almost a similar situation to his current situation with James Harden. That's where it's tough. Here's 3 things that I would say benefit Russell Westbrook going to the Knicks. 1, fashion.
Definitely.
Number 1 fashion, quote unquote, the number 1 most fashionable guy in the NBA. If you want to talk fashion, if he wants to be on Times Square, that's literally the best place other than LA. 2, with the Fashion Week too. 2, he gets to handle the ball as much as he wants. He literally gets to keep the rock as long as he wants, and that's what he wanted. That's why he wants out. He doesn't want to share it with another alpha ball handler in James Harden. And then 3, and I think this is the most important one because of how petty he is, he gets to have a freeway rivalry with one of his good old pals, Kevin Durant. And I think that would be, an amazing side story. And, knowing Westbrook, I think that's enough inspiration to get him back to Mr. Triple-Double. So those are 3 things that I think Westbrook would capitalize on and what would make him lean towards wanting to go to the Knicks. Now, let's go switch it up, talking about what you were mentioning a second ago, the Phoenix Suns. One of the biggest trade rumors for the Suns is Chris Paul, CP3. What do you think the chances are of CP3 landing in the Suns with Devin Booker and bringing those guys to the playoffs? Let's start off with EJ.
Yeah, I think that's gonna the possibility. It depends on how many picks the Suns have to give. I mean, OKC's notorious for swindling all the picks that they can. And I think they're set for the next 10 years, right? So I mean, I think if there's picks in that deal, then I think it's very likely that that CP3 ends up going to the Suns, and I would love to see him paired up with Devin Booker. Oh man, I mean, look what CP3 did with OKC this year. I mean, who was his second best player? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Yep.
Right. Exactly. I mean, and you're upgrading that to a Devin Booker who can score, who's as clutch as it can be.
You know who else? DeAndre Ayton.
Exactly, DeAndre Ayton, and I think if you compare those two, Steven Adams and DeAndre Ayton, they're pretty much there, but the ceiling is much higher. Is for a player like DeAndre Ayton, who's still young, and CP3 is a leader. He can develop these young stars, and he's proven it with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just this previous season, how he was able to take a step up. I think that would be a great benefit for CP3 and for the Suns. And I guarantee they wouldn't be right. The Suns wouldn't be like on the edge of the playoffs. They would be probably replacing where OKC was this year in that fifth or sixth spot. That's going to be a big thing.
Great points. My question for you, Jolty, is exactly that. Would CP3 going to the Suns push them into making the playoffs this coming season?
Okay, first off, do not diss my Canadian Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because
hey, I'm not dissing him. I like Shai Gilgeous. He's great. I like him, but he's not the same compared to Devin Booker.
No, I mean coming out of college, he was supposed to be. But if the Suns can play like the bubble Suns, even without CP3, I think they could be where OKC was this year. If they can continue that momentum into the new season, with it being such a short break, with CP3 on that team, they're going to be in the top 4, like no question about it. They have so much talent. You guys already brought up the names: Booker, Ayton. Add CP3 to that. That's all you need. That's their own big 3.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest off-season wins for the Suns has to be their city jerseys. Did you guys get to see that yet?
I don't think so. I've seen the Warriors, but not there.
No. So like the 2 best city jerseys have to be. I think we might have lost Shelty. The 2 best city jerseys have to be the Suns and the Spurs. Check those out. Let's go to our next one. Drew Holiday to the Celtics. Thoughts on that, Jolty?
Sorry, my phone was messing up here. Drew Holiday to the Celtics. If the Raptors lose Van Vliet, Drew Holiday will take the Celtics and replace where the Raptors have been these past couple of years. And I know we have Van Vliet on the list for later, but Drew Holiday will take the Celtics to that next level. He will almost replace what they lost in Kyrie, and bring that. I mean, as a Canadian, Toronto-Boston has always had a rivalry in all sports. I don't know about how you Americans feel about that, but it'll take that rivalry, the Celtics-Raptors rivalry, to the next level, because it'll elevate the Celtics even more than the Raptors have been the past couple of years. Yeah,
well, I mean, going to you, EJ, Drew Holiday is a defensive specialist. So is Marcus Smart. I would say Tatum's pretty great at defense too. Who's their big? I guess
Theis.
That Theis is awesome in the new age center defense. So, what do you think of Drew Holiday as a fit to bring the Celtics to the top of the East, as Jolty was referring to?
That's a big add. If they get Drew Holiday, I mean, this guy, he's not talked about enough. He's been as consistent as he's been since he was in the Sixers. And I think it's just because he's been in losing teams that he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he also won this year's Teammate of the Year. I think Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, obviously, people like to play with him. And then you think about what the Celtics are missing, right? I mean, they're really missing that guard who can get people involved. And Drew Holiday could get people involved. And he can do a heavy bulk of scoring. I mean, they don't need that help. Well, actually, now that I think about it, they do. Like you said, they're defensive specialists, the Celtics. And sometimes they're kind of stagnant when it comes to offense. Who could score? You just give it to Tatum and hope he could do it, or Jaylen Brown if he's hot. Because if Jaylen Brown's on, that's when they're going to see success. But that third option, Gordon Hayward hasn't really been someone they could depend on every year. And I think he might be on the go. So if they replace him with a Drew Holiday for a guard who gets people involved, unlike Smart can get people involved, but that's not his primary duty. He's obviously a defender. So it's going to be great.
So let's go quickly with these last couple ones. Staying with the Celtics and staying with Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward from Miles Turner of the Pacers. Jolty, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean,
who wins, who loses?
The Celtics win. Gordon Hayward has been so injury prone these past couple of years, and like EJ already mentioned, he's not the player he used to be, especially after that horrific ankle injury. It's almost like
the injuries.
It's almost like he's playing scared, and understandably, right? He's re-injured his ankle multiple times. Miles Turner, the past couple of years, by far has been the better player.
Right. Well, I mean, we're right at the mark where we need to take a break, but we have a couple more names that we'll bring up. We'll bring those up after the break. So stick around. EBC Sports International. We'll be right back.
Hello there. Imagine Demi got the virus, and she infected 2 more. And those 2 infected a lot more of people. And it goes on and on until it became an epidemic. But what if Demi stayed at home? Then those 2 wouldn't have contracted the virus. Then those people would have not been infected. This is not just your battle, it's everyone's, and you can be a huge help. Follow social distancing, or better yet, stay at home.
Masasabing ang pinakasentro sa bawat kainan ay walang iba, kundi ang cake.
The cake is the symbol of the celebration. Without the cake, the celebration cannot mean anything.
Patok sa panlasa, bata man o matanda, pangmasa o may kaya. Kaya naman sa negosyong ito, malaki ang tsansa mo na kumita.
Ang ginagawa ko noon, doon ako sa school nagbe-bake para less gastos din siya. Then yun, doon nag-start talaga yung business.
Nag-start po kami mag-bake. ECQ naman po, wala po kami ginagawa. Nag-start po kami na magnegosyo.
Kaya usaping baking naman tayo. Paggawa ng cake and pastries ang ating tututukan. Ako po, si Robin Padilla, at ito ang unlad, kaagapay sa hanap buhay. May kaagapay sa hanap buhay.
Events happen around us all the time, in our community, in our country, around the world. Events that affect people, move communities, or simply inspire us. Interesting events that people need to know. In these interesting times, we continue to be a competent partner in delivering news about these events. Fast, accurate, balanced, eager news, because we live in interesting times.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in to EBC Sports International. I'm your host, Ken Cruz, with my co-panelists here, EJ Gonzalez and Jolty Horvath. Thank you so much for joining us. We're continuing our NBA trade talk along with free agency talk. Now, the reason why I wanted to continue this is selfish reasons, because the Lakers are interested in potentially acquiring DeMar DeRozan from the San Antonio Spurs for Kyle Kuzma and Danny Green. Now, one thing to consider is that the coach, Greg Popovich, has in the past refused to make any deals with the Lakers and has told other coaches and GMs to not deal with the Lakers. That's how much he dislikes this rivalry with the Lakers. So, despite that,
What are your thoughts on this trade? Does it make the Lakers stronger, weaker, and same thing for the San Antonio Spurs? I'll start with EJ.
Weaker or stronger? Man, you're adding a DeMar DeRozan. I mean, he's one of, if not the Spurs' number one option, aside from LaMarcus Aldridge. But, I mean, you know, it sucks his situation leaving the Raptors and then them winning the championship without him, right? So I feel for DeMar. He needs to go to a team that can contend. And, you know, if he can shake Greg Popovich and his agent can find a way to still make that happen, Lakers win this deal hands down. You replace Kyle Kuzma and a Danny Green, who's not the LA fans' favorite player after all the threes he's missed in the finals and in the playoffs. But I mean, I like Danny Green, but you can't compare him to a DeMar DeRozan. Obviously, if DeMar joins LA, repeat, three-peat are all things you could start talking about. That's going to be a pretty big three with LeBron, DeRozan, and Davis.
Thoughts on that, Jolty? Agree, disagree?
Absolutely agree. I mean, Danny Green, it's like those memes. You have one job, and that's to shoot threes, and you're not even good at that. The Lakers, if this trade can happen, the Lakers would win it hands down. But I don't think it'll happen simply for the fact that you brought up, Ken, where Greg Popovich is not going to let it happen. Plus, he knows he's going to lose that trade. So he's not going to trade his number one option for two.
Well, I think one of the main reasons why I think it might happen is because Popovich has said in the past that he likes Kyle Kuzma. But then the thing is, like, does he like him enough to get rid of one of his main scorers on his team? I don't know.
Well, I mean,
it's like if I was Greg, I'd be like, all right, give me Kuzma, keep Danny Green. What else can you throw in there?
Well, no, but Danny Green was on his team when they won with Duncan and Kawhi.
He was a lot younger and he had a lot more life left in those knees.
Well, yeah, he's one of the big reasons why they won that championship. He was on fire, hitting threes for them. You know, like, I think Danny Green would love to be reunited with Greg Popovich. I mean, who wouldn't? You know, with the success that he's seen. So I don't know. So if he likes Kyle Kuzma, and you know he's had Danny Green in the past, and I'm pretty sure you know he's a coachable guy. Then this might happen. We'll see. It'll be pretty cool.
Fair enough. So then two more takes, and let's do these really quick. So just let me know if this will allow Giannis, it will cause Giannis to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks. Eric Gordon for Robert Covington or PJ Tucker? Jolty.
Wouldn't it be funny?
Is it Eric Bledsoe or Eric Gordon? Because
I'm sorry, Eric Bledsoe. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
That's
okay. Yeah.
So wouldn't it be funny if they make this happen and then
Bledsoe's Eric's
worse of the Bledsoes? That's right. Wouldn't it be funny if they make this happen and then Giannis still leaves? That's my take on it. That's it.
EJ, thoughts?
Hey man, I've been an advocate of getting Eric Bledsoe out of Milwaukee, man. So if we could get him out, and you add a Robert Covington, another guy who's lengthy and can play defense, and also shoot the three, and PJ Tucker. I mean, you know, they're gonna fit in with Milwaukee because that is their style. It's very similar to the way the Rockets play.
I think a PJ Tucker would be amazing for Giannis, just because he could. Play. He can stop guys.
He can actually play.
Yeah. He can stop guys and stay in the court too, and he can shoot three. Right. Speaking of shooting threes, let's go to Fred VanVleet going into free agency. He has mentioned that he wants his bag. He is more into getting his money than winning, because even though
he's not shy about it either.
Yeah, he is not shy. So. What are your thoughts on that? Who would be willing to give him the money he's asking for? EJ.
Well, I mean, obviously he's vocal about that because he already won his chip, you know, and he was a pivotal part in that championship team. Now he knows his worth. He knows, and he's going out and he wants his bag. So you can't blame him. He's proven how valuable he is to the team, and now he wants to get his family, the best situation that they can be in. I'm all for it. I think there a couple of teams. I mean, pretty much the Knicks would want to go for him because they'll have all the cap space in the world. But
I think if they don't get Westbrook, that would be a great alternative.
Yeah, and they always have a plan B, right? Like they always have a plan B if they can't get that A-list player. And I don't think right. And Van Fleet, as long as Van Fleet gets his money, I'm pretty sure he wouldn't mind playing for the Knicks. So he's fine going to New York.
Jolty, real quick.
I feel like he's looking for more than just money. He wants to be somewhere warm because the Raptors have already been rumored to be playing in a few different cities because they won't be able to play in Toronto.
Right.
And he's been very vocal about wanting them to play in Tampa Bay because that's the warmest of the cities that were named. And he basically said if they play in Tampa, he's coming back. So I think it's more about just money. So if it's down to the Knicks and someone else, he's going somewhere else because he wants to be warm. Toronto's, I don't know if you guys have been to Toronto in the winter. It is freezing. He does not want to be cold anymore.
Yeah, I think his hair's too short for that. I'm just kidding. Well, we'll find out a lot more in the next couple of days about who's actually going who. But as I hinted earlier, the NBA draft is early next week, November 18th. These youngsters have been waiting for months to find out where they'll be drafted, as drafts are usually during the summer. With everything that's happened in 2020, it was only natural for the draft to be postponed. And as expected, the draft will be held virtually, like this taping, but it doesn't take away from the fact that some teams are about to acquire their future star and the league may never be the same again. Or will this draft be a bust? What do you guys think? Like, is this a deep draft, a shallow draft? Some of the big names include Lonzo Ball's youngest brother, LaMelo Ball, Memphis freshman James Wiseman, and Georgia freshman Anthony Edwards. So, Jolty, what are your thoughts on this draft class? Any favorites?
I don't think I'm going to talk about any specific one just because the place that NBA hopeful stars are born is the NCAA tournament. And we didn't have that this year because of COVID.
Great take.
We didn't have that because of COVID. So you're not going to find, the diamond in the rough like Steph Curry, like Fred VanVleet. Was huge for Wichita State.
Deontay Fox. Remember Fox? Fox versus Ball.
De'Aaron Fox. Yes.
De'Aaron, I'm sorry, Deontay Fox.
De'Aaron. That's why I was like Deontay. It's De'Aaron.
De'Aaron Fox. Yeah.
Long show.
What I'm predicting is that you're gonna coming into the new season, which is so quick, coming up on us real quick in a month. You're going to get these guys who were undrafted or, not lottery picks, round picks. And you're going to get them making some of these teams. And you're going to find these diamonds in the rough in preseason and early on in the season rather than the NCAA tournament. So, yeah, I mean, you can look at these, I'm looking at a top 10 list right now, and it's all names that, we've heard over the past couple weeks. But my prediction is you're going to find some names that you've literally never heard of, and they're going to explode in the NBA, even if it's just one or two players.
EJ, what are your thoughts on the 2020 draft class?
I mean, exactly the point that Jolty said. I haven't seen enough to see who would really be the most beneficial. I mean, the only name we always hear about is Lonzo's younger brother, LaMelo Ball. Exactly. And half of the headlines we hear about him is because of his dad. So, but I think he would probably be the most seasoned for the NBA because he did play overseas. I always, especially with the way Doncic and a lot of these other world players or international players are coming into the league, I really think that this is the new route a lot of players should take, is to go play overseas against real men, not in college, because that's where they'll really see their competition. Because that's where NBA bodies pretty much they have those NBA bodies and strength. So yeah, it's not a draft class like Zion Williamson's draft class, but I would like to see what happens with LaMelo Ball. If he'd be a bust, I think he might be. I think he's just too overhyped. He might be the better out of all the Ball brothers, but I don't know. I got to see him in the real league to do his thing with whatever team decides to draft him.
I mean, he has the right things, right? He's 6'7", and he has like a weird shot like his brother, but it's more consistent. But he has also potentially better vision than his brother.
Yeah, high IQ.
I think the only thing that he's missing is supposedly defense, but that can always be worked on. So with that, we'll continue to our last block after the break. Stay with us, EBC Sports International.
Kababayan, naharap na naman po tayo sa mabigat na pagsubok na ito. Ito yung COVID-19.
I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's safe.
Nandito po kami para hikayatin pa po kayo na maging matibay.
Mas maging matatag po tayo and just stay positive po sa lahat po ng nangyayari ngayon.
Mga mahal kong kababayan, lampasan po natin, pagtagumpayan po natin ang pagsubok na ito.
Stay strong sa panahon po na to.
Huwag tayong mawawalan ng pag-asa.
At inihikayat din po namin kayo na sana makinig po tayo sa ating gobyerno.
Sumunod muna tayo sa gobyerno dahil yun yung pinakamainam na paraan para hindi na lumagana pa yung virus.
Let's all stay at home.
Spend time with our loved ones, with our families.
At higit po sa lahat, make sure to pray for everyone, pray for everything that is going on right now, especially our frontliners po who are sacrificing their lives to take care of everything.
Higit sa lahat, patuloy tayong lumapit, magtiwala at manalangin sa ating Panginoong Diyos.
Lagi tayong manalangin dahil yun po ang may pinaka-mainam na solusyon sa lahat po ng mga problema natin.
God bless you and your family. Please stay strong and keep our faith.
Tuloy po ang laban.
Ngayong Sabado sa Tagisan ng Galing Part 2, Singing Edition.
Pag nakikita ko yung mga performers natin, mga contestants natin, ng mga ganyan, natutuwa talaga ako. Kasi we're talking here of galing. Even though mataas na yung mga notes na yon, mas tinataasan mo pa.
Kung gano'n sinliit ko, gano'n din kalaki ang boses mo.
Galing mo kumanta, especially yung ending. 5 bagong kalahok ang magtatagisan sa kantahan, but only one will remain para sumabak sa 3rd monthly finals.
Welcome back to EBC Sports International. Ken Cruz here. We're in the final lap of our show. We blinked, and now it's already week 10 of the 2020-2021 NFL season. There have been some amazing performances so far in the season, and we'd like to take the time really quickly to recognize some of our mid-season awards. So just let me know who your thoughts are. Quick take. Let's go with best quarterback, Jolty.
Mahomes, 25 touchdowns, only 1 interception, almost 2,700 yards passing, and it's week 10. Only 1 interception. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Back to back?
We'll see how the season ends up.
Well, he is a championship. He is a champion of the commercials right now. I'll tell you that. How about you, EJ?
I'm going to pick the other guy who's a star of the commercials, and that's Aaron Rodgers, man. Guy's only target is pretty much Devontae Adams, and he's still 3rd in total TDs, and obviously first in their division and tied for first in the NFC. Hard to bet against discount double check, but I do like Patrick Mahomes. But Aaron Rodgers is going to be my pick for best quarterback right now.
How about best breakout player, EJ?
For me, I think it's going to be Kyler Murray, man. He's just he's been fun to watch, and he can make plays happen, whether it's through the air or on the ground. And he was able to take down Mike Hudson's Seattle Seahawks. So, yeah, I think best player to break out right now, and I think he's number one in fantasy leagues right now. It's Kyler Murray.
Yeah, that guy's an animal. How about you, Jolty?
I wouldn't really call them breakout players, but I'm going to name two people, and it's Tom Brady and Drew Brees. Every single week, we have a new NFL passing touchdown record leader because one always jumps in front of the other. Right now, Tom Brady leads by one touchdown.
Yep.
But next week, it could be Brees up by 3 touchdowns. You never know. So that's my breakout players. It's just fun to watch.
The breakout old man award. Now let's stay with you. Best wide receiver, running back so far.
I mean, I gotta go with Dalvin Cook. Like, come on, there's no question. He missed a game and a half. He left early against the Seahawks and then missed the next game, and he's still number 2 in rushing yards with 858 yards, only behind Derrick Henry, the guy who gets 60 carries a game, and he's leading the NFL in rushing touchdowns with 12. There's no one else who compares to Dalvin Cook. That's a wide receiver or a running back right now.
So let's go next. Best defensive player, EJ.
You're going to be happy with my choice, man. It's kind of hard to bet against Aaron Donald, man. I mean, you line up and you see as a quarterback and you see this guy on the other side. I mean, it's just intimidating just to watch him. I mean, he puts in the work and he leads the league in sacks. So, yeah, it's got to be Aaron Donald for me.
Yep. Mr. Double Triple Team. How about your Rookie of the Year, Jolty?
Ooh, that's tough. It's tough because Justin Herbert is my Rookie of the Year candidate, but he's only won one game as a starter. But he's putting up numbers like Aaron Rodgers, like Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to have to go with a wide receiver, and that's going to be, coming out of Vancouver, BC, Canada, Chase Claypool for the Pittsburgh Steelers has, I think, 8 touchdowns on the season. He had one game with 4 touchdowns. That's animal. He's an absolute animal.
How about best coach so far, EJ?
Best coach, Ron Rivera, man. Best coach. Nah, but you know what? I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna stick with my pick, Ron Rivera, and I think it's because of the battle that he's had off the field and still being able to, be there for his team. Fighting cancer, taking treatment. I don't know how you could be that character-wise, on and off the field. I'm gonna have to go with him.
Well, technically, the Washington football team is only one win away from being.
They can still take it. They can still take it.
Must be
embarrassing, but that's an interesting take. How about best offense, Jolty?
It's got to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. They have 4 different, starting wide receivers basically that can score. James Conner as a running back, he's iffy. They got Big Ben as their quarterback, who's been an absolute beast of a quarterback. So it's got to be the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's comeback player of the year.
Or 9-0.
Insane. So then let's switch that up. Defense, EJ.
Yeah, no. So I was actually surprised you picked Pittsburgh for offense because they're known for their defense. I think you can give half of the wins that they've gotten to the defensive efforts of Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they lead the NFL in sacks and interceptions. So I guess we're going with Pittsburgh again.
So then let me ask you, in the count of 3, tell me who is the best overall team. Both of you guys. 1, 2, 3.
Steelers.
Kansas City.
Oh, okay. I think both of those are great takes, and that might be Super Bowl of the year. I don't know. Now, before we wrap it
They're
up,
both AFC, so they can't.
Wait, Chiefs are AFC.
AFC West.
Oh, man, I could have sworn they were NFC. That's just me. Now we just need to wrap this up because it won't be complete without our question of the week. So, you get to be the greatest of all time in a non-major sport. What are you the Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky of? Let's start with EJ.
You know, that's a tough one. But I would think that the X Games are not major sport. I've always wanted to be, a great skateboarder. So I think if it were one, it would be skateboarding.
How about you, Jolty?
I thought about this actually pretty hard because I was like, what is considered a major sport? Because it depends on where you live, right?
Right.
But if we're talking North America, I would be an Aussie rules football player. The guys who they run around and they kick the ball through those two sticks, and simply for the fact that those dudes make so much money in Australia, it's unbelievable.
You know who would I be? I would be the Kobayashi of the competitive food eating. Of course, that would be Joey Chestnut. That's me, the greatest of all time. Maybe I already am. I don't know. I just never been in a competition. But appreciate your takes, guys. And that's all we have for this week's edition of EBC Sports International. On behalf of everyone on our panel and our staff, thank you so much for joining us. And be sure to tune in again next week. Make sure to visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenewslive.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at EagleNewsPH to join the conversation. From Washington, D.C., I'm Ken Cruz. This is EBC Sports International. We live in interesting times.
May sakit na lumalaganap, lunas di pa nahahanap. May paraan para wag kumalat, kaalaman ay ipamalas. Pag-aralan ko dali na, simulan ang disiplina.